An 85-pound rescue dog spent 411 days in a shelter because no one could touch him. 3 families tried. 3 families gave up. Then a young mom who was quietly falling apart walked in, and she didn't choose the dog everyone recommended. She chose the one sitting in the back corner, facing the wall. And what this dog did the first time he heard her baby's voice will stay with you long after this video ends. Not all rescue stories begin with the dog being saved. Some begin with the dog doing the saving. And nobody in this family expected that the one who needed rescuing the most wasn't the dog in the shelter. It was the woman standing in front of his kennel with tears she couldn't explain. Mason was an 85-pound German shepherd mix with a black and tan coat, deep amber eyes, and a body that tensed every time a human walked by. He had been at the Ridgeview Animal Shelter for 411 days, not because he was aggressive, but because every time someone reached for him, he backed into the corner and pressed himself against the wall like he was trying to disappear. 3 families had tried. The first lasted 2 days. The second returned him the same afternoon. The third kept him for a week, but said watching a dog flinch every time you move your hand was something they couldn't live with. After that, Mason was moved to the back row, Kennel 28, where the ones nobody chooses end up waiting for something that may never come. Before the shelter, Mason had spent his first 3 years chained to a fence post in rural Tennessee, fed when someone remembered, touched only when someone was angry. By the time animal control brought him in, he had a scar across his muzzle, a healed fracture in his front left leg, and an absolute terror of human hands. Here is something most people don't know about German Shepherds. They are the 3rd most intelligent dog breed in the world. They don't just follow commands, they read emotion. They remember everything, and Mason remembered all of it. Every hand that came too fast, every voice that came too loud, every time trust meant pain. Olivia Parker wasn't looking for a dog the day she walked into that shelter. She was 26, a new mom to a 4-month-old baby girl named Ellie, and she was barely holding herself together. She had moved to a small town outside Nashville 3 months earlier. No family nearby, no close friends. Her husband Ryan worked 12-hour shifts, and most days Olivia was alone with a baby who needed everything and a silence that made her feel like she was disappearing. She hadn't told anyone how hard it was. She smiled when people asked, but some mornings she sat on the kitchen floor after Ryan left and didn't move for an hour. Not because she was lazy, because she didn't know where to start. Her mother suggested getting a dog, not as a solution, just something warm and alive during those long, quiet hours. One Saturday, she drove to Ridgeview with Ellie in the car seat, just to look. She walked past every kennel. Dogs barked, jumped, wagged, but when she reached the back row, she stopped. A black and tan dog sitting in the far corner, completely still, staring at the wall. Not sleeping, just existing. "How long has he been here?" she asked. "Over a year. He's touch-averse. Most people can't handle it." Mason didn't look back, but something about the way he sat there, alone, invisible, waiting for nothing, hit her somewhere she didn't expect. She knew that feeling. She knew exactly what it looked like to sit in a room and feel like no one could reach you. "I want him," she said. Ryan thought she had lost her mind, but Olivia didn't have a logical reason. She just knew. The first 2 weeks were brutal. Mason stayed in the corner of the living room. He flinched at every sound. At night, he paced the hallway like he was waiting to be sent away again. Olivia didn't push. She sat on the floor 6 feet away every evening and just existed in the same room. No reaching, no talking, just breathing. On day 9, Mason moved 2 inches closer. On day 14, he sniffed her shoe. On day 18, she felt something warm press against her knee. Mason had rested his chin on her leg, trembling, ears flat, but choosing to be close. She didn't move. She just let the tears fall. "I see you're still here but haven't subscribed yet. That honestly breaks my heart a little. We pour everything into these stories. Hit that subscribe button. You'll want to see what happens next." But the moment that changed everything wasn't between Mason and Olivia. It was between Mason and Ellie. 3 weeks after he arrived, Olivia laid Ellie on a blanket for tummy time. Mason was in his usual corner. But when Ellie made a small sound, a little coo, Mason's ears lifted. He stood up slowly, walked over, careful, deliberate, like he was approaching something sacred. He sniffed her tiny hand and did something no one expected. He lay down right beside her, just close enough that his body curved around hers like a parenthesis, and he didn't move for 45 minutes. From that day on, Mason would not let Ellie out of his sight. When Olivia carried her to the nursery, Mason followed. When she put her in the high chair, Mason sat beneath it. When Ellie napped, Mason lay outside her door, facing the hallway, like he had finally found the thing he was put on this earth to guard. This was a dog who spent 3 years learning that love meant pain, and 411 days learning that love might never come. Yet the first time a tiny human made a sound, he chose to move closer instead of away. That is not instinct, that is courage. Stories like these are exactly why we do what we do. If this made you feel something, you're not alone. And then there was what it did to Olivia. The mornings she used to spend frozen on the kitchen floor became mornings walking Mason around the block with Ellie in the stroller. The silence that used to crush her was filled with a tail thumping the floor every time she entered a room. For the first time in months, she didn't feel invisible because Mason saw her. Every single time she walked through that door, he saw her. Sometimes that is all it takes. Not a cure, just one living thing that notices you exist. Ryan came home one evening and found all 3 on the couch. Ellie asleep on Olivia's chest, Mason pressed against her side, all breathing in the same rhythm. He stood in the doorway before he whispered, "You saved him." Olivia shook her head. "She saved me." Today, Ellie is 14 months old. Mason is 5. Every morning, he checks her crib before anyone else is awake. Every afternoon, he walks beside her as she takes her first wobbly steps, his body close enough to catch her if she falls. Every night, he lies outside her door and doesn't close his eyes until the house is still. The dog no one could touch now sleeps with a baby's hand wrapped around his ear. The woman who felt invisible now has someone who never looks away. Because sometimes you don't rescue a dog. Sometimes the dog rescues you. And sometimes love doesn't knock on your door. It just waits in the back row of a shelter, facing the wall, hoping someone will finally sit down and stay. Would you trust a rescue dog with a history like Mason's around your baby, or would you walk away? Tell me in the comments.